we're among cinema people that have been here for a week watching amazing films and learning and being part of a million panels. So I will start from the writing, because that's from where often a project starts. And here we have Ilaria Freccia, who is an amazing writer who did work internationally. She recently wrote a script, Hold Me Tight, who won the Writers' Lab. The Writers' Lab is created by Meryl Streep, Nicole Kidman, and Kate Blanchett, and it's an amazing organization that supports the work of women. Welcome, Ilaria.
Hello, thank you so much, Valentina, to invited me here. This project especially it is a difficult project because it speaks about sexual tourism in the northeast of Brazil, and actually I was inspired by a small chapter on a book of Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monastery, and about the connection between the poor prostitute of Manila and some rich lady buying some expensive clothes in the Western world. So it actually is a very challenging story because I started doing research. I'm basically a documentarist, so I started doing research, and I made a documentary years ago about sex tourism in Thailand. So I wanted to tell a story which was truthful, but I wanted to find some creative, more imaginative aspect. So I actually built this story, and the lab was an amazing experience for me because it's, as you said, it was founded by this amazing actress, and it was also an amazing experience because I work only with other writers, women, and we worked for about 8 months on the script, and the script has reached an amazing level of quality, thanks to this organization, which is totally free. I mean, nobody has to. It's founded by these women, so it's open, and they select. They received about 1,500 scripts every year. And this was the only Italian project selected, and so this is in development. So we have a producer in Brazil, producer here, and a producer in the States. So hopefully next year you maybe come to Venice, and who knows?
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about writing because of the writers' strike. That, of course, it wasn't in Italy, but in a way, it made us all reflect about artificial intelligence and the master of writing. Yeah.
Yes, I was actually reading some data after a year from the strike, and they said there was some important protection, especially for artificial intelligence, especially for actors, but for writers, I don't know, it's hard to say after a year of the strike if there was actually some improvement. Some people says no, some people says yes. So it's a delicate question because we don't know what's going to happen in the next few years. Hopefully we'll still be, able to create and exist as writers, as artists, but it is a challenge. It's obviously a very big challenge.
Alessandra Speciale, who has given us a little bit of your time in this busy time. She's part of the official jury of Venice Film Festival. She's also the founder of this amazing festival, Festival del Cinema Africano, Asia and Latin American, so four continents. How was this edition of Venice? What was your impression?
I'm a part of the selection committee, so I have to say that it's wonderful. No, we did a very, very, big job, and I'm personally, I'm very involved in cinema coming from three continents that, they have no very well-known filmmaker, and so I deal more with the independent cinema, and I'm very happy because I think that in Venice we really try, not to combine Hollywood and the red carpet that is so necessary now for a festival, and also to compete with Cannes in some way, but at the same time there are also very good and independent films. This year I'm very happy because I created also an industry program in Venice. It's a program for work in progress film coming from Africa and the Middle East. And so we select every year 7 titles of films in progress, and we help them to complete the film. And so 3 films supported and selected in Final Cut in Venice last year. They are this year selected in Venice, 2 in Orizzonti competition and 1 in Giornata degli Autori. One is a South African one, a Palestinian one, and a film about Sudan. So I think it's so important that Venice is also that, is also show also films that matter, and give opportunity to young talents coming maybe from difficult countries, to become well-known director. For instance, we have in the jury Abderrahman Sissako, that now is one of the best and biggest African filmmakers, and I remember a long time ago he had also this opportunity to come to Venice and then, to grow up. Unfortunately, I had to go back early because I have 2 Q&A today in Orizzonti with one Tunisian film and a South African film. But I want to share with you very quickly some numbers concerning we were talking about women's empowerment. So in the Biennale, every year we have a seminary concerning the gender balance in the Biennale. So in terms of executive committee and managers, we are 50-50, men and women. In terms of selection committee, the 52% is women and 48% is men. So, I mean, a good balance. Also in the juries, we invite every year jury for the Orizzonti, main competition. This year, 51 women and 49 men, percentage. The balance, change, unfortunately, the percentage change when we talk about films. So, overall submission per number of directors, we receive 4,807 films, okay? And the balance is 62% men, 35 women, and 2 others, gender fluid in some way. Okay, and Italian submission, oh my God, 74% men and 25 women, okay, and 1 other. And finally, to complete, I selected films. 59% women, and sorry, I don't want to, and 42 men. Okay, so a good balance.
Extensive work anyway, and beautiful program in Venice. Congratulations. Silvia Bizio, who I know from Los Angeles, and she's been a journalist, she's a writer, she's currently writing a book with Kevin Costner, and Silvia is part of the Golden Globe Award jury and committee, and she's very well known because from her interview there are bigger projects that always starts and takes birth. One of them is a documentary about Charles Bukowski that became very iconic. And it started from an interview that Silvia gave to Charles Bukowski. Do you want to talk to us about it? Can you pass the microphone? Oh, perfect.
Back to Hank Bukowski. Love it. But that was 1981. And yes, I was just finishing my PhD at UCLA, becoming a journalist. I wrote to Bukowski, who I was a big admirer of his work, and he actually answered me, and that was the beginning of many, many years of friendship, and mostly many, many years of drinking together, because that's what you would do with Bukowski. You would spend the night drinking. And one night, I had a crew with me, and we filmed this long, many, many hours of an interview that went on into late at night, and then I lost those tapes for 30 years. They were literally buried in my garage in Los Angeles somewhere. So 35 years later or so, my son and I found them and had them digitalized. And the result was a year of work of my son Matteo, who edited all this footage that was still salvageable. And I think it is today still, and he was here at the Giornata degli Autori in the festival a few years ago, and I still think it's probably the longest, the most extensive public, interview with Bukowski, who died a few years later. So for the lovers of Bukowski, it's become a testament to who he was. He was a wonderful guy. His writing, still alive. I find more and more young people, they're rediscovering him. That's one of the many.
The Golden Globe, they've been going through a drastic change, a political, very unjust process, and that's part of the texture of Hollywood, unfortunately. Without saying something myself, I'd like to know your experience being part of it, because the Golden Globe are still one of the two most important awards in the world, but more important, there are two awards that can make or break a film, can give an amazing opportunity to an actor to be seen, to a writer, to a director, etc. And what they went through was truly disgusting. But I won't say more. I'd like to know your experience because you were part of the internal situation.
You want me to get in trouble?
No, but
it was unfortunate because the Hollywood Foreign Press, which funded the Golden Globes 80 years ago, was made of a group of foreign journalists who came from all over the world, including Bangladesh and India and South America and China, and having been accused of not having enough minorities or differences was not really fair. So the consequence is that we were definitely disparaged but I think it's media and it's corporate greed. As Susan says, follow the money. You always find what happens. And anyway, we were brought down literally by an article of the LA Times and a bunch of disgruntled journalists. Unfortunately, led to where we are at now, which means that the Hollywood Foreign Press, as a group of journalists, doesn't really exist anymore. Now we are Golden Globe voters, and the Golden Globes are still alive and kicking, and more important than ever, we have hundreds now of international voters from all over the world. I'm proud to be still one of the not founding members because that was 80 years ago, but I think I'm today probably the oldest member I've been a member for over 40 years, and we still are a group of members, and I think what we lost a little bit was the ability, as you were saying, to discover those gems of independent filmmaking and television. Now it's because it has become so much more corporate. Obviously, all the studio films and the films with the big marketing budgets will most likely have more attention. But we're still here trying to discover in festivals like this or all over the world, trying to discover the new talents and the new films. And I still believe in that, so that's still alive.
And you're working on a book about Kevin Costner. Do you want to talk about it, or it's too early?
Well, Kevin has been an old friend for many, many years. We don't even remember when we met the first time, probably on the set of The Untouchables. But when he invited me to go on the set of Horizon 2 over a year ago, introduced me to a young man who was the founder and the president of the Kevin Costner Italian fan club, Pietro Ricci. And Pietro is a delightful young man, and he made me realize when he met me, he said, Silvia, anyway, apparently I have the biggest collections of interviews with Kevin of anybody in the world because he has them all. So when I saw all the interviews I did with Kevin, I said, Pietro, come on, there is enough here to write a book about it. So with his research on all my interviews, we put together this book, which is a book of interviews, film by film, with Kevin. Kevin is writing an introduction, and he blessed the project, and so hopefully it's coming out soon with Gremese. That's all.
You've seen a lot of people on stage winning at the Golden Globe and losing. Which one do you remember the best, or the speech, or the moment that was iconic to you in some way?
Oh my God, so many. From Christine Lati arriving with the toilet paper on her, sticking to her heels because she didn't expect it and she was in the bathroom, to, that was amazing when the actor who gave his Golden Globe to Jack Lemmon. Remember, that was pretty incredible. There were been, on that set, on that stage, there were many, many moments. Beautiful.
Deborah Kobylt, a CNN award-winning journalist, part of Turner Entertainment. I'd like to speak a little bit about media because now journalist is very much part of the social media and vice versa. And how do you observe all this process? Because it changed a lot.
So many changes, but to pick up on what Silvia was saying, look at what can happen when you get some negative press, right? It can really change something, and that's the same as what happens with any project, and really it's always been that way. A critic, the media can really change the perception of a film, but really what matters is how the public perceives it. And that's why with modern media, it's complicated, right? With social media, that's changed how we perceive it very often, how we look at a film. Also, if you notice what's happening here at the film festival, it's really remarkable. The stars are selling their film. You watch George and Brad pull up and do a little dance, and people are now excited because everyone's talking about their films on social media. So, it used to be that a film could live and die depending upon what a reviewer would say. And it's not necessarily the case anymore. A reviewer, to go back in time, honestly, we all remember Siskel and Ebert, right? They did not like Home Alone at all. They trashed it. Well, look what happened to Home Alone, right? So, and a critic can do their best to, give their opinion, but in the long run, it's really about what the public wants to see, and that's where social media comes in, and influencers who are showing up and giving their opinion.
And it is very negative many times, but yes, I mean, in this edition of Venice, we really saw it, how social media is almost more important than the interview themselves, because that's what you see when you open the phone everywhere. So I would like to speak about the journalism itself, and how do you do you work in it? You've been working in so many facets, entertainment, politics a lot, in the East Coast and the West Coast, which is very different, what you focus on, and also your husband is an amazing journalist as well.
He is. He is a talk show host and quite a character. But I will tell you, I try to stay away from anything negative. Even if a producer will say to me, try for this quote, I'll say no. Because I'm not into the gotcha journalism. I don't think it serves anyone. And then people start to follow something like that. I like to just be the eyes on what I see. And for example, at the film festival, what I'm seeing is people working really hard, particularly the talent who's in front of the camera, right? Working really hard to sell the project that they've worked for years trying to get out there. And who, in fact, is a reviewer to show up and decide to just cancel that? I don't believe in that. I think it's a big responsibility that we have to just be the eyes and let everyone else decide what's going on. And that includes when I do political reporting. I just try and be the eyes. No one really cares about my opinion anyway. I don't think anyone should. And look at, with Susan sitting here, right? So much gotcha questions throughout her career in life, or of Kevin. And something like that can also make or break a project that they're doing. And I just don't think we should be in that kind of business. I really don't.
You have, besides working for the networks, you have your own live show, Deborah Kobylt Live, and you want to talk to us about it?
I'd love to, because my interest is I enjoy interviewing, for example, all the ladies up here. I want to hear about your stories and why you do what you do. And very often, if you work for a large network, you're not allowed to do that. They tell you what to go and cover. It could be a flood. It could be, a film that they choose. But when I do my own work, then I can decide who I want to interview. And also, it's become very profitable for people to have their own show and live stream. We didn't really talk much about live streaming in terms of filming, but and often the influence can be bigger than many of the networks out there, because a lot of the networks aren't necessarily getting the numbers that they used to get, and very often individual shows, podcasts are where it's at. They have the numbers, they have the influence. So I actually think all of the media combined, one big bowl, is very interesting because you can find your place. But yes, I enjoy interviewing authors because I enjoy reading, and keeping it at a certain level and not going below that, informing.
Thank you. Joanna Plafsky, a wonderful producer and founder of the David Lynch Graduate School of Cinematic Arts.
Hello.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm
Yes.
a big supporter of the Better World Fund and have been at all their events the last few years. It's an opportunity to be here.
You are a very seasoned producer, and one of your latest films, 2021 Slingshot, you worked with...
I did 3 this summer.
Oh, wonderful.
Years ago.
Tell me about it.
Well, this summer I did a film with Barry Levinson's company in Germany called American Sweatshop, and it's just about what we're talking about, how the young students today are negatively influenced by social media, and a lot of them have real problems doing that, and it has a big effect on people. Then I did another film with Maven Pictures, Trudy Styler, Celine Rattray, called Unicorns, which just opened up in the UK, and now it's going to go across the US, Cohen Media, with Landmark Theaters. And it's a very kind of edgy film. It's not your normal film. So I'm doing both things. Since 20 years old, I've been having 2 passions. One is movie making and setting up movie productions around the world. And also, when I was 20 years old in college, I became a teacher of meditation. So I've been always traveling around the world doing both at the same time. I wanted to just show you a little video from David Lynch when we started the David Lynch Film School.
If you have a golf ball-sized consciousness, When you read a book, you'll have a golf ball size understanding. When you look out, a golf ball size awareness. And when you wake up in the morning, a golf ball size wakefulness. But if you could expand that consciousness, then you read the book, more understanding. You look out, more awareness. And when you wake up, more wakefulness. It's consciousness. And there's an ocean of pure, vibrant consciousness inside each one of us. And it's right at the source and base of mind, right at the source of thought, and it's also at the source of all matter.
Yeah, so for me, doing the both worlds together for all these years, my passion is not women or men. It's for everybody to experience that ocean of consciousness within, which is not an idea, which is not an intellectual concept. It's a real experience, which is developed, which I've worked on my whole life, all over the world. Then you permanently are in a state of enlightenment. And then your projects, no matter what they are, if you're writing them, you're producing them, you're watching them, you're coming from a whole different level, not just from a small consciousness that's more limited. You want to take your consciousness to a much higher level. So everything you do and see comes from a whole different level. So that's my real focus this lifetime, is doing that. And it's very different from what most people even know about. I'm shocked that so many people don't even know about what I'm talking about. It's a real thing.
Well, thank God for your work then. Tell us a little bit about the David Lynch Graduate School for Cinematic Art.
Yeah. About 10 years ago, I decided that we needed an enlightened school for cinema. So we created the David Lynch's, which still exists today. And students come there from all over the world, and they study meditation and the normal knowledge of filmmaking. And I've given many scholarships to women. One was from Iran, one was from Hungary, another was from Australia. And they come and they study. It's changed now to screenwriting. For many years, for 5 years, it was production and screenwriting. Now it's both. And fabulous things come out of this school because they stay there for 4 years. They do meditation, understand who they are as people, then make films from that higher level. So it's very successful, and it's still going on all over the world. It's now online, emphasizing the screenwriting portion of it. And David Lynch comes in all the time and discusses with the students their scripts and inspires them, and it's beautiful.
Thank you. Is there any questions? I know we're running a little bit out of time, but...
Thanks for such an inspiring panel and wonderful discussions. Deborah, I was really interested in what you were saying about the changing landscape of reviews and that sort of thing, social media and the power of influencers. I was wondering if that makes the world more equitable or less equitable for women, bearing in mind that on the negative side you've also got the world of sort of review bombing and stuff like that, which has also often affected women-led pieces.
Good question. Honestly, I think the landscape of social media opens a lot up for women in a very good way. We can choose what we decide to look at, to consume. We can also, there's a lot of work being done now with women doing their own projects. We know that. In terms of funding, that's still an issue. I believe women, I believe it's about somewhere between 3 and 10% of the women are in control of funding. So through social media, we can change that. So it's not, people are not telling us what to do and how to do it. We can then go out and find a platform for ourselves. We can write about it, we can record about it, we can, I believe that the social media landscape has changed that. It's what you choose to consume. Do you want to get on someone's negative bandwagon? Go ahead, wouldn't be for me. I want to consume information that's going to elevate what it is that I'm interested in telling other people. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Any other questions?
I have a question to Ms. Joanna Plafsky. To your point, what you said about meditation and how meditation can help to bring the person's mindset to the higher consciousness, I cannot express enough how much I share your opinion. Besides doing fashion design, I am also the yoga and meditation instructor. And I would love to ask you, when you speak about the path of getting into that state of consciousness, what would you find the biggest challenge that the one can face in order to get that? Although it is the person.
Main thing is you have to do it.
That's right.
Yeah, to me, if you don't do the meditation, you don't do it regularly. I went around the world for the whole time I was in the film business, going on advanced courses. I never skipped my meditation, never. I do it twice a day, an hour and a half twice a day, because I've got many advanced techniques. So the key thing is committing your life to be in a higher state. And most people don't do that. They just do it and then they relax about it, and then, So the main thing is, it doesn't just happen automatically. If you read the stories of all the best yogis in the world, they spent years developing it. So, but it's enjoyable. I love it. So that's the biggest challenge, is actually to commit to doing that along with your regular life. And then it's fun, because everything's more blissful, everything's more fun, everything is more successful. So it works.
Thank you so much.
Very interesting panel. Thank you, everybody, for bringing your life experience to this. I'd love everybody to give a word, but mostly Deborah and Joanna. How do you feel that AI is going to impact the journalism industry and the film industry? And what does that look like in 5 years?
Should I? I'm really not sure. Okay, just for the heck of it, I've used AI just to see, how researched they can be. I'm big on research. Valentina knows this. And I'm amazed how sometimes it will just regurgitate something that's already out there and doesn't really go deep into an issue. So where is it going to go? I don't know. I think really you'll never be able to replicate what's in somebody's heart and what's in somebody's mind. They may try, but it's not there yet, and that's what I have to say. I think a writer and what people have to write about will always be most important, and I'm not sure how you can replicate a human being. Will there be a place for it in the future? Absolutely. Where it will stand, I'm not sure. What do you think about that?
I think it's impossible to transcend on the level of what AI can do. And that, to me, is the most important thing, is that we have the ability as human beings to transcend and experience that we're all the same underneath it all. We all are. We all should be together and care about each other. That's beyond what AI is going to do. And that's really what I think is very important for everybody, especially today, because everybody's so divided. Today I had some hair and makeup girls in my hotel room. One was from Ukraine, the other was Russian, and both names were Natalie. But they were best friends, and what kind of movies they like? The most romantic, uplifting movies. One like Breakfast at Tiffany's, and the other like Life is Beautiful. So it shows you that we all want things to make us more happy.
I love it. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here with us.